start this whole thing and articulate it a little better. So I'm going to pour a little gas on the fire today and blow things up. I'm going to make a couple of phone calls where you see me actually bringing somebody into the organization. You're going to see and hear the tone of the call, the questions that are being asked, where I am in total control of the conversation and moving the conversation in the direction I want to take it. So this is somebody who had over 100 people at EXP. He left EXP. I believe he went to Epic. I don't know why in God's name someone would do something like that, but he did. Then went to Real and is now shitting in the bed at Real. I probably shouldn't have said that if this is recorded, but is now defecating in the bed at Real, and we're going to try to bring him back to EXP. So Joshua, you're going to mute everybody, and I am going to illustrate how we're going to bring this cat in. So I met him on a cold call. All right, where is this cat? Dude, I just had you here. All right. Here we go. You ready? Let's call him.
Hello, Jason.
Jason, Eric Orland calling.
Hey, how are you doing, Eric?
Good, buddy. How are you doing?
Good.
I was looking forward to us reconnecting.
Yeah.
Were you taking a short vacation?
Yeah, we took a week off last week and or the week before, I guess. Yeah, the week before, and went down to the Gulf Shores in Alabama.
Oh, you know, I've heard the most wonderful things about that location, Jason. A dear friend of mine who lives part of the time in Fort Lauderdale on the beach goes down to the Gulf Coast to enjoy that. He said it's simply gorgeous down there.
It is, and it was peaceful. It was like not a lot of people.
All I'm doing is building rapport and getting him to talk.
And it was an Airbnb, but it was a penthouse, and it was right on the water, literally just down the elevator and a few steps, and I was in the sand, and I didn't do anything but the beach and eat good the entire time. That's all I cared about.
Hey, my brother, that sounds like a perfect vacation.
It was nice. It was just not long enough. Everybody else, the kids were ready to kind of come back, and I was like,
is that your first time down there, or is that a typical vacation spot?
Yeah, that was our first time down there. I've been to Florida several times, and California. And I had heard good things about Gulf Shores, and I thought, I just planned it. I just did it. I told my wife, I was like, hey, this is where I want to go. So
nice. I may have to figure. I got to make my way down there. I've heard so many. Now you're like the third person. Like when you first hear it, things always happen in bundles. You're like the second or third person the last couple of weeks to mention that to me. So, and that must be a calling.
It was really cool because they have like this called the Hangout, and it's like a venue that plays different types of bands and things like that, and they've got food there, and it's just a neat place for like families to go. And of course, my boy, he's 17, so he's girl crazy. So they're just him and his buddy that went with us. They just were girl crazy. They were just walking around looking at girls the entire time they were there. But me and the wife sat there and had a couple of beers and watched the band play. And I mean, it was really nice.
That's nice. Really nice.
I was surprised.
I'm glad you were able to enjoy yourself. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I was looking forward to us reconnecting. I work very closely with Mike. I have tremendous respect for him, her, and Hamudi. And I know that you were uber successful at EXP. I have to ask you, because you seem like a great guy. And I know that you know the strength of the platform. What made you leave?
It wasn't one specific thing. I needed a change because, especially in my market, like I got into real estate. It wasn't cheap. It just wasn't. It wasn't downline, and all that stuff was not even on the radar. When I joined EXP, I watched Micah and Hamudi, and I saw how they did it, and I liked what they were doing, and I kind of just like, well, I want to do what they're doing, but I'm a people person, so when people leave, I it's not, you're not dead to me.
Right.
Like that stretch, but it's like, do I do more for them type of thing? And with real estate, it's kind of tough because it's like you can't really do more.
Right.
You know, I mean, you can spend more time, I guess I could say. And I had some bloodsuckers that just, and time suckers that just wouldn't quit. And I even tried to get them to get out of the business because they were not good agents and they weren't doing anything other than just wasting time.
Right.
And they just took a toll on me when we opened up the Tulsa market. And I mean, I had, I think 129 agents, I think, one time in my downline.
Yeah. Yep. You did.
And
I looked it up. So I have to ask you a question. You seem like a great guy, and hopefully this is not too intrusive. What did you learn from that experience?
from the EXP experience, or
Yeah, the bloodsuckers, people like sucking the blood out of you and taking up your time and taking to a dead end street, so to speak. What did you learn from that?
That it wasn't worth my time.
Yeah, right. Setting back.
My happiness is more important than theirs. And I mean, not to be a dick, but I mean, just calling a spade a spade. If I'm gonna invest my time to help you, you've got to pull your help. You've got to pull your weight. And I got to the point where I joined Epic, and they were trying to get me to recruit like I did at EXP, and I'm like, that's not what I'm about. And plus, I didn't agree with Epic.
Yeah,
like I didn't like them. I joined them because I got talked into it. I was already going to leave EXP. My mind was made up that I wanted a fresh start somewhere else. Real was where I wanted to go. I got swayed into going to Epic because there were some agents that I was friends with. And I just, and I told my wife 2 or 3 months in, I'm like, I'm probably going to end up at Real. I just see myself ending up at Real.
How is it going at Real for you? What do you like best about having them as your brokerage partner?
I like the simplicity of everything. Like everything that they have is kind of, they're not heavily in recruiting. They're more of the camaraderie and, just be a part of something special. Not, I mean, the agent attraction stuff doesn't even really exist. I mean, it does obviously, but not to the grand scale of things like I saw at EXP. And I mean, that's great. I mean, you told me that you had quite a few, in your downline, and I mean, I would love to have that in a way, but I'm kind of comfortable. I went through a lot of family loss the last 3 years.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Jason.
Lost my mom, lost my grandma, lost my uncle. That was the only family that I had that I was close with, and they're all gone.
I'm sorry.
So I was like, I just needed a start. I appreciate it. I just needed to wipe the slate clean, and I'm like that. Whenever things get messy in my life, I'll just go clean house.
Yeah,
I'll just go do it.
That makes sense. I think a lot of people are like that, right? You want just a fresh start. You want a new beginning, so to speak.
Yeah, and I just, and Real didn't have a big presence in Oklahoma, and I thought, if I do decide to do that agent attraction, which I was, pretty good at, then I could do that with them, and it's not going to be, we're not the new EXP. It's, we've got agents all over. Epic was trying to be like the new EXP.
Right.
And I just, they rubbed me the wrong way on a lot of things. I did not agree with their, I didn't agree with anything, honestly.
No, I've been in companies like that.
Yeah, it's and I told my wife, this was back in, was it like April? I think it's whenever I joined Real.
Yep.
I told my wife, it was March because that was my 1 year anniversary. I said, I'm going to give it till the end of the year, and if nothing changes, I'm going to go to Real or get my broker's license and do my own thing. And she was like, okay. And shit hit the fan. That was on a Monday. And when I say shit hit the fan, I'm starting to see people posting things on Facebook, and they're unhappy and they're pending lawsuits and all this stuff. So that was on Monday. Wednesday, I was already at Real.
Wow.
I was like, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to waste my time. I don't want to be involved in any of this. I don't want any bad, clouds hanging over me. I just want to go do real estate and do my thing and help people.
Gotcha. That makes sense to me. What don't you like about real? What would you do to change or modify about the relationship you have with real at this juncture?
I really don't have anything.
No.
I mean, I haven't closed any deals with them yet. I had one that was pending and they pulled it back off the market. But it was we're going to put it back on the market probably. They said once school started, which was this week. So I haven't really had any transactions, but I do know that some of like one of my sponsors, I seeked him out. He's in Florida, and I like what he does on his Instagram, and I just started following these people, and I'm like-minded with these people, and I want to go, like attracts like, so I want to be with these people. I don't want time suckers and this and that. I just feel like I learned my lesson, and I know that no brokerage is perfect, and it never will be. But I also felt like if I went somewhere else and I was very successful, happy, then it would be so easy for me to attract agents, because I've already seen it. I have a list of 115 agents that had left EXP during my tenure that I emailed to myself, just to like, hey, these are possible people down the road you may want to reach out to.
Jason, I got to ask you this question because you and I come at it from the same mindset. I'm also a people person, and I spend most of my day reaching out to people like yourself that I want to work with, that have similar mindset, one of growth and doing something really special by simply connecting with others. What could EXP do to get you back home?
I don't think I could. I missed out on a lot of money over the last year.
Yes.
With the downline and the way that they restructured it. I talked to Mike and Hamudi, and and I've seen people leaving EXP, and all that was just, it was kind of floating a little money out there per month, because I wasn't getting, I had people in my downline, and you know how it works. If you have it structured right, then you can really make bank. I didn't. I was just like kind of floating along, and I would have one good month because one of my top agents, she would put all her deals into 1 month so she could cap soon.
Right.
So then it's like the rest of the year sucked, because I was getting like $100 to $500 a month, and I'm watching her, and she's like, I'm getting 13,000, and I'm like, shit.
Right.
Yeah. So
I can see how that was frustrating.
It was, but it was also like, that just, maybe that's not my calling, know?
Do you want to build an organization? Do you want to build an organization?
I do. I think I do. Like I said, I've had a lot of family deaths. So the last 3 years of real estate has not been me at 100%, like me at probably about 40% realistically. When I lost my grandma in May, that's whenever I was like, okay, I got to handle some stuff, family wise and business and other things that we had. But I can focus back on real estate again, for the first time in a few years. So
how important do you think having the right sponsor in place will assist you in driving the type of organization that you'd like to have?
I think it's important. Micah and Hamudi were great with me. I had a lot of, coming up from a small town. I'm just a small town kind of, I would say cowboy, but I'm not really a cowboy. I might sound like one, but I'm not. I just, I had some limited beliefs, and they really helped with that. But then I also, I didn't really like the whole aspect of the recruiting part of it. It was nice to see people that wanted to come with you and work with you, but that's not why I got into real estate. That's just not what I signed up for.
Of course not. You got into real estate to sell real estate, right, and work with buyers and sellers. I want to ask you a question. Would you be open? You said before, Eric, you've had a fairly good size run. I have. I've got about 3,000 agents in 5 years. So I've grown almost as fast as anybody at EXP. Having said that, would you be open if I could show you how EXP would boost your production by now having in place 11 different lead generating sources, but also allowed you the opportunity for you and I to work hand in hand, for me to take you by the hand, lock arms, and build something extraordinary within the next year. Not based on my words, but based on a proven track record of having 3,000 agents that are part of my group. Would you be open-minded to that?
I mean, I would be open-minded to it, but it's tough for me because I felt like I'm not one to like just jump ship and go join other brokers. That was never in the cards for me. The reason I made the switch after a year with Epic was because I saw things that I didn't think they're going to be around for another couple of years.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree with you. And I'm not going to ask you to jump ship, by the way, Jason. I'm going to ask you to jump into my arms if it feels like it's a good place to land and you and I build something spectacular together. You know, I can tell you this, that things have changed. You've been gone for EXP for about a year now, correct? Year and a half?
Yeah, year and a half.
I mean, Leo has come in and done an exceptional job as the CEO. And I was not one of Leo's guys. I was one of Michael Valdez's guys, right? So I don't have the same rapport with Leo that I had with Michael, but I am going to tell you, he was the perfect CEO for EXP. We're in a growth curve. And this is what I want you to consider with an open mind. Would you ever build a home on a faulty foundation? In other words, if the foundation sucked, would you build a beautiful home on top of the foundation?
No.
I want to ask you a question. Has Real ever had a profitable quarter? They're a publicly traded company. Has Real ever had a profitable quarter?
I don't know. I haven't even looked.
They have not. They have never had a profitable quarter. As a publicly traded company, they have a fiduciary and moral responsibility to run a profitable company. So they're going to eventually have to change the economics that are being offered to their agents so they can post profit. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
You're a great guy. Why in the hell would you build an organization, a real estate organization, on a faulty foundation? If you wouldn't build a house on a faulty foundation, why would you build an organization on a faulty foundation?
I mean, so the things that I like about Real is the way that they structure it for their agents as far as payments. They're not asking for a monthly payment. You don't have to pay them until you close your first deal.
Yep.
Growing agents that are new in the business, they need that. I didn't necessarily need that. I just didn't know if I would even continue to do real estate anymore.
I hear you.
I went and bought like $1,000 worth of signs and lighted signs at that for Real because I was kind of rebranding myself.
Yeah.
And wanted to do, I kind of wanted to just get away from the whole thing that people only think if you're an EXP agent that you're recruiting and I did recruit, but I didn't do it in a way that like a lot of agents do, and they're just they're like telemarketers. I didn't want to be a part of that.
I don't blame you, and I don't run my business like that. So what I'd ask you is that I understand the appeal of Real. EXP is in an 80-20 split with a $16,000 cap. Real is in an 85-15 with a $12,000 cap. Our icon agents get back $16,000. Real gets back $24,000. I want you to just think about this, businessman to businessman. How do you become profitable? By giving more and more and more away of the farm. At a certain point in time, there's no room for the pigs or the cows to eat on the farm. There is no more money left over. So what I'm asking you is, would you agree chances are more likely than not, they're going to have to change their financial metrics that they're offering to the agents in order to post profitability? Does that make sense, Jason?
It makes sense. I don't know. So I can't speak. I'm just going by what you're telling me. And yes, if what you're telling me is in fact true, then yes, they would have to.
If I could go ahead.
But I don't. I mean, yes, that's my broker, but also you're your own business. You are. So it's how are you taking care of yourself? It's not really. I don't look at it as they're taking care of me. They're just a place paying my license, right?
Yes. But they are offering financial incentives, which typically is what moves agents where to hang their license. You know, at Real, you're going to keep more of your commission. At Real, you're going to get back more stock. What I'm saying to you is the foundation is faulty. And what I would ask you, if I could get you a cap deferment, pay nothing at EXP for 6 months, just to dip your toe in the water and allow you and I to build for 6 months using a system that I created called Attractify. It's powered by artificial intelligence. It's a step-by-step process that would help you build the organization that you want, that you need, and quite frankly, Jason, that you deserve. Would you be open to exploring that together?
I'd be open. I just, like I said, though, I don't want to mislead you in any way. I appreciate your time and you contacting me.
You're great. I mean, and I obviously called Micah and she said he's great. And she said, if you could get him, Eric, under your tutelage to work with you, I mean, I'm going to ask you this, and this is no knock against the person in Florida. You know, would you agree that typically if you want to be successful, surround yourself with uber successful people?
100%.
Does your sponsor in Florida have 3,000 agents that are part of his organization? His or her, excuse me.
I don't think so. But it's not a part of their, I mean, he's not an agent that goes out to try to attract people.
But you have a big personality and you're selling properties. And if you were comfortable in simply asking, Jason, somebody if they were open-minded to exploring a platform that may allow them to keep more of that hard-earned commissions, provided buyer and seller leads, unlike any other brokerage firm on the planet last year, which is why our agents sold more real estate at EXP than any other brokerage firm, but also made available multiple streams of income, one of which happens to be a passive income stream, which pays out more money than any other brokerage firm on the planet, and it's easiest to qualify for. And you were right, we have changed the specs for opening up the first 3 tiers. But if work alongside you and you were comfortable simply posing that question, could we potentially lure you back to take your career to the next level?
Possibly.
I would love.
I would never say no, but I mean.
Would you give some thought to it, what that looks like? Because I'd go to the mat for you. I'll tell, not ask. I'll tell EXP I want you to get a 6-month cap deferment. You pay nothing. Tip your toe in the water and see what you and I can build over a 6-month period. Would you give some thought to that?
I'd give some thought to it.
I'd love to work with you, and so would Micah and Hamoudi. And I'm telling you, we could build something spectacular. I was on the phone with one of the major agents, I'm not going to mention names, who's going to come on within the next week. And there's an agent, I don't know what part of the state, if it's north, west, south, or east, so I don't know, Oklahoma, that has 150 listings that's also coming over. And another agent in Oklahoma City that's coming over who's a broker. There is definitely a movement. What makes EXP spectacular is, you know, if you look at the market share relevance that we have, almost 90,000 strong. It's almost triple of what Real has. I mean, Real is still fighting to open up Canada and is in all 50 states. EXP is now in 31 countries. EXP has posted profitable after profitable quarter. And I'm going to tell you, as one of the leaders, as an alpha agent at EXP, I want to lock arms with you and build something. I am willing to invest in you. I'll get on a plane and meet you face to face. And if I'm willing to work this damn hard to bring you back to EXP, how hard do you think I'll work as your business partner?
Yeah.
Would you give some thought to it?
I mean, I'd give some thought to it.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to let you kind of sleep on it. I'm sure you could do a Google search of me so you'll know I'm not full of beans. It's Eric, E-R-I-C. My last name's Orland, O-R-L-A-N-D.
I've met you before.
You met me at the event.